Hey guys, welcome to my SKT versus Kingzone VOD review. So in Korea, Lunar New Year is actually celebrated very widely. And it's a really big holiday. It's usually like 4 to 5 days off because it overlaps with the weekend. And it's a big break. And there was also a new patch 9.3, so a lot of changes were made. So the big thing in this patch is AD carries getting buffed due to crit items, and also Akali just being knocked off her throne as the best champion in the game. There's been a huge problem with these Frostfang items, people playing like this peaceful style where you don't farm at all, and you just get gold through Kleptomancy and the support item Frostfang. And yeah, it's been a really, I would say, unintended gameplay that Riot didn't foresee, and that's been a huge problem in LCK, and this game was a great demonstration of it. So yeah, a lot of the changes coming in, the Frostfang stuff, the 9.3 stuff, and teams getting a huge break. So I'm very excited to see how SKT versus Kingzone goes. So without further ado, let's start the VOD review. So SKT first picked Sylas. Sylas mainly used top or mid. He's a very sticky champion, and I'm not too sure about Sylas's power level. It's all over the place. Some teams think it's really strong, some teams think he's pretty weak, some teams think he's situational and you pick him later down the line, depending on what ults enemy team has. They just first picked Sylas without even knowing what ults were going to be on the enemy team. So that must mean SKT thinks Sylas is incredibly strong. Looking at SKT's comp overall, this is a comp that's going to be pretty focused around split push. There's going to be double teleports run. I would imagine lead jump. Okay, let's actually see what the comps are. Okay, so after 15, they can't switch. So Faker, Sylas, Con top, or Victor top. So it's most likely going to be a 1-3-1 comp. Victor and Sylas, both pretty decent split pushers, I would say. And Kai'Sa Gragas can hold mid pretty well. As for Kingzone, this is a very teamfight oriented draft. Karma, Azir, Israel, Kench. This is going to signal a very strong backline and playing around the Azir and the Israel with Karma and Kench as much as possible. So it's going to be a teamfight draft against a 1-3-1 draft. SKT can teamfight if they need be. It's not like they have weak teamfight champions. It's just these champions can't split push, while Kingzone doesn't really have a champion that can split push and really hold the side lane. So let's actually get into the game and see what happens. Ooh, so this is just a normal Karma top, and it's a Frostfang Victor top, and a Frostfang Azir. No, he doesn't have Klepto, just Halo Blaze. But the Azir and Victor are going to want to maintain 0 CS and keep farming up. God, that's disgusting. Riot made a gameplay, or people discovered the gameplay pattern that allows you to never, but basically allows you to not farm and still keep up in gold. I knew the support items were really strong, but not this strong, where they were strong enough to actually be picked in solo lanes and generate enough gold where it doesn't matter. One of the huge benefit about this strategy is right now the game is very limited in terms of how much worth you can place on the map due to Sightstone being removed and the support items being the only real source of a lot of worth. So that's, I think, one of the biggest benefits of this strategy, being able to place a lot of worth around the map and really control the vision game. What do you think about the hotfix even for pro play? Is this the first time such thing happened? No, there's been hotfixes before, mostly to champions. Mostly like whenever there's been a champion that's like incredibly strong, or a combination of item and a champion that's incredibly strong, Riot has hotfix before for pro play. But yeah, they've done it before, so it's not something that's completely unheard of, Riot hotfixing. Looks like Cuz and Rascal trying to set up this dive. Really good upcuts to start over the wall. Khan didn't expect it, got hit by the first Q and had to flash out after to make sure he doesn't get hit. So apparently LCK teams had an option to play, okay, and then Karma ends up buying the Frostfangs later. She starts the She starts corrupting and she CSs in the early game, but after she recalls, she buys Frostfang, the upgraded version. Interesting. I guess that's another way you can play this strategy. Early game, where if you feel like you can't get enough pokes and you can't get enough gold, so you just actually play without the Frostfang, and later on you buy the upgraded version of Frostfang. So, oh, what the fuck? What's that black screen? So LCK teams were given the option to play with the hotfix and without the hotfix, and obviously they chose to play without the hotfix because people were rushing Frostfangs. I think it's more so because they practice without the hotfix, so they're like, yeah, we want to play on the version that we practiced on. Rascal went for a gank there with Cuz, but Klid was there in time to make sure he can counter gank. So this strategy isn't necessary. So there is some subtlety to the Frostfang strategy. It is outdated, but I'll still explain it to you guys since we are doing the VOD review anyways. There's little things you can do to really optimize this strategy, which is like when you're about to recall and you want to charge up you use all your stacks, then you can actually push out the wave and get all the farm before recalling, so you can pick up CS there. Sometimes it's worked to pick up the cannon wave, because I think the delay for Frostfang's not proccing after you last hit, I think it's like 15 seconds, so you can actually get the cannon and have enough time for the next wave to come in. There's just little ways you can optimize this strategy to make sure you are actually getting the gold. You are actually getting some farm and maximizing the amount of gold you get. So when you poke and then you try to farm something, right? Someone was asking, why don't they just poke and try to farm? Whenever you poke and then you try to farm, you actually, you can't get gold if you are farming. You have to, like, the item disables giving you gold from poke after farming. Like after like you last hit, you're not able to get gold. So there are some conditions that come with it. It's not just simple as buy this item, get gold. You need to land your pokes and you need to make sure you don't last hit. Yeah, that's why some people like Kuni went Klepto to optimize it more, because you can get Klepto and you can poke, and then it maximizes your poke and maximizes gold generation. Oh, so this kind of play is also called splitting the map, where one side is very focused on top side and the other side is very focused on bot side. So obviously Kingzone, their game plan has always been playing around depth, so they're very focused around bot side and getting things done bot side, while SKT on the other hand have been trying to get stuff top side and get this first turret top side. So this is called splitting the map. Well, I'm actually really interested to see how the mid game is going to play out and what Faker does with Sylas. Ooh, those kind of deaths are actually really bad for Khan, because Khan was invested a lot of gold, right? And a lot of resources in terms of SKT actually putting a lot of farm and a lot of ganks, a lot of time into getting Khan ahead, making sure they can dive top. But him dying like that neutralizes their lead a lot. So now Kingzone going into 1-3-1 formation. Right now they're 1-3-1ing to making sure they can maximize farm. There's going to be certain items that they're waiting for, most notably Death 2-item power spike like Mana Mune, and also Azir getting 2-item power spike. They don't want to take any kind of team fights right now, and also objectives aren't on the map, so Kingzone is just going to spread out in a 1-3-1 formation and just farm much as possible and maximize farm on everybody on the map. And once they maximize farm and once they feel like, oh, we're a stronger team, they'll fight. But until then, they're just going to keep spreading out and farming like this. They're not trying to win through 1-3-1. What Kingzone's trying to do is farm it out through 1-3-1. What SKT has to do to counter that is they have to try to engage onto a part of the map where they feel like it's weak. But the thing that's really hard for them is they're versus Israel and Tahm Kench in mid lane, so that's a lane they really can't engage on. So they have to either look for Azir or Karma in either of the side lanes. But the interesting thing is Azir and Karma are both running teleport. So if you try to collapse on the Azir, Karma can teleport, try to help. Israel can get in Tahm Kench ult and try to help also. Same thing for bot side. So it's actually a really hard point in the game for SKT to break the game open And King John's actually gonna get to freely farm until the next Inferno, until the next Baron, until they feel like they're comfortable enough with the items they have. It's a really shitty position for SKT to be in, because they know they're gonna lose late game. They know King Zone has the better team fight, but they just kind of have to give the better team fight to them. As SKT, you're really frustrated right now, and you really want to get a fight going, and you really want to be able to engage. Is it just me, or does Gragas feel like an overrated pick? I get that he's good early. I'll talk to you about Gragas in a little bit. Let's watch this team fight. So team fight setup for King Zone, what's going to be really important is Karma, Israel, and Azir all on the same side. Why you want all the AD carries on the same side is, let me try to explain it this way. All these leftover bottles can help. So if all your dudes are on one side, then they can all help each other and like attack from the same side, right? But if two of your dudes are on here and the other dude is here, if they go on the two that's alone, then it's really hard for this person to come in like and help. You want every range champion on the same side fighting together to maximize like being in like a ball comp, like being in like a, like, you know, in 300 how they like get into like a fan position with all their spears. So yeah, something that's really going to be important for King Zone is team fight positioning. Azir being off to this side while they fight here is going to be really bad. They want to make sure Azir is on the same side. And also it's really a lot easier for Kench to eat the targets when they're on the same side. And as we talked about, now that they have people on the same side and King Zone has a better team fight, they're actually able to just freely take the Inferno. That's really big. Okay, now let me go back to the Gragas thing. Is it just me, or does Gragas feel like an overrated pick? I get he's good early, but he seems to fall off sharply after mid-game. Yeah, Gragas is actually really heavily dependent on being able to get team fights. And if you can't engage the team fight thoroughly, and also if you're not versus an Alistar, then it's really hard for Gragas to actually function. So Sylas, or Faker flanking here with Sylas. Unfortunately, if Azir was here and he was able to take Azir ult and he was able to flash and like Azir ult him, that would have been great. But because Azir's not there, I don't think Faker can really take a good ult. Yeah, so he ended up stealing Aatrox ult there, which is nice. Will help him in team fights, but it doesn't really matter. And while that was going on, Azir just split push bottom by himself when and was able to get the turret. Damn, I actually underestimated how useful King Jones solo laners would be in a side lane. Azir actually being able to split push by himself, because rest of King Jones able to hold off so well, and they're able to just 1-3-1 a lot better than I thought. This 1-3-1, like ultimately they're doing 1-3-1 to get a lead, but their ultimate win condition will be team fighting. They can't get multiple turrets right now off of this 1-3-1. Maybe they can if they get more dragon, but we'll see. Or not more dragon, maybe if they get a Baron. But King Zone's able to stack dragons, keep farming up. This has been like a very like strategically well played game from King Zone. It left SKT in such a awkward spot, and they just kind of drafted themselves into the corner with the Sylas first pick, in my opinion. Sylas is not like a first pick champion. Wow, they have 3 Frostfangs, so that's 9 worth on the map. So another really big thing about this strategy that King Zone is running, because they're able to get multiple Frostfangs, it's actually so good for them in terms of providing vision. And Azir and Karma can provide their own vision, so they're able to split push really effectively. Wow, I really did not understand King Zone's draft at first, but after watching it in its entirety and how they played it out, it actually makes so much sense. Great team fight, great ability to split push and farm up, and you win the late game too. So I can now understand the draft in its full entirety. Oh. Alright, let's watch this a little bit far, see how the fight is going. Faker went in and then got the Azir effect that I talked about that he wanted. But now King Zone retreating and all 5 people on the same side, it's really hard for SKT to deal with King Zone afterwards. Oops, what the fuck? Oh my god, what is that? That's not what I needed. And then yeah, gonna be able to kill Faker here. Yeah, I don't really see a way for SKT to win the game unless they get like a really great pick. But even with a really great pick, due to them having stuff like Kent and Israel and Karma on the team, there's just a lot of safety. And even if they get a kill on, let's say they get a kill on Azir or they get a kill on Israel, it's not easy to Baron in a 4v5 situation versus King Jones comp. Pawn, really important that Pawn E's out and then he ults the Lee Sin. They have worth everywhere, so they're going to be able to see Lee Sin come in. If the Pawn is good, he'll ult the Lee Sin before Lee Sin even has a chance to jump in. Let's see if he does that. Yeah, there we go. Good job. It's just, Lee Sin isn't likely to get the Baron there, but you want to deny every single chance that he has. Get the... it's super frustrating to be on the SKT side because you know you have to get the team fight, but you can never get the proper team fight and you're getting poked out before. So you're just sitting there going like, wait, what the fuck do I do versus this? And you're getting slowly outscaled every single time. Even Death bought the support item later. Yeah, so from SKT's perspective, it's just really hard to play it out. Faker, remember, wants to steal the Azir ult and wants to be able to Azir sec everyone in there. And KingZone very wary of that, and they just have so much worth around the map. It's impossible to flank them. Now they can just take Dragon, reset, they're all going to have around 2k, 1.5k gold each, and just go end the game through bot lane. And SKT's kind of helpless. Wow, this was definitely like an outdrafted situation. KingZone just outdrafted and out game planned SKT so hard. Also, another really good thing about Frostfang that I didn't mention is the gold generated from the Frostfang strategy doesn't go towards your bounty. So even though you'll have the same gold as the enemy team, the enemy solo laners will actually have bounties and you won't, just by laning. Damn, KingZone actually schooled SKT in this. The SKT is never able to reach the backline of KingZone. Azir and Israel will never die. Azir Israel will never die. Not with Karma and Kench in the game. And then game over. Wow. What an insane game. As much as I think the strategy is disgusting, KingZone played it to their fullest. And KingZone actually did really well with the strategy. I think it's really easy to just be like, oh, the strategy was so dumb. Fuck KingZone. This was disgusting. This was so dumb. As much as we can just talk about that, I think there's just a lot of value in talking about how well KingZone were actually able to execute and actually did things together. And it was just so well planned and so well executed. Just beautiful. Beautiful job. So KingZone was able to take game 1 on SKT with a really well executed Frostfang strategy. The don't farm, hit enemy champions, earn gold strategy. On the backs of that and being able to get multiple wars, they drafted a superior teamfight comp and they were just able to drag the game on, where their team fighting was just so much stronger than SKT throughout the whole game. So now we're going into game 2. SKT banning out some of the crucial champions to make sure they can't run that strategy again, most notably Karma, but opening up Cassiopeia. So Cassiopeia took a lot of nerfs, mostly on her W and I think on her Q also. So she went from the best, one of the best champions in the game to, I would say, something like A class or B class champion. I definitely don't think she's worth the first pick, so it's pretty interesting to see KingZone first pick Cassio actually. I think Urgot's a much better first pick on 9.3, but what do I know? So let's see what kind of comp KingZone ended up with and what kind of comp SKT ended up with. This is actually one of the more traditional comps that SKT ran a lot in the Kespa Cup. Lissandra mid and Urgot top, they often drafted Urgot and Lissandra together. What Urgot and Lissandra give you are great laners that are good in teamfight. And that are also good with ganks. Like you can teamfight, you can 1-3-1. It's just a really solid backbone to build a team comp off of. Because Lissandra and Urgot are both incredibly strong champions in lane, both incredibly strong in teamfight. They can somewhat split push. They're not really true split pushers, and split push can't be your win condition when you have Urgot and Lissandra, but they can get priority and split push and kind of flank, like an Urgot flanking, Lissandra flanking is extremely dangerous. They rounded out rest of their comp with Israel, Thresh, and Jarvan, so mainly they are a team fight comp. They have great engages in Lissandra and Jarvan, and a great backline in Israel also. While Kingzone drafted more of a 1-3-1 comp with LeBlanc and Cassiopeia in a side lane. These are champions that want to be in a side lane, want to take small skirmishes. Not the strongest in team fight, especially LeBlanc comparatively to something like a Lissandra, and she wants to be in a side lane more. One thing that is kind of dangerous for Kingzone is LeBlanc versus Lissandra matchup. It is not that favorable of a matchup for LeBlanc, and she's often forced to take cleanse. But if Pawn runs teleport here, I actually think he's going to be in a really dangerous spot versus the Lissandra and the Jarvan. So 1-3-1 for Kingzone and teamfight comp for SKT. Let's see how it plays out. Of course, there's like small things that SKT does better, small things that Kingzone does better. But I don't want to just sit here and overly talk about draft. I just want to go over like the big picture things in draft, and we can get into the game. All right, let's skip all this. Come on. Cassio versus Urgot top. There's people actually stray far away from playing Cassio top lane, and it's mainly been Cassio mid and bottom, so I'm pretty surprised to see Kingzone send the Cassio top lane. She is an incredibly strong laner still in top lane. It's just, in top lane, she's much more vulnerable to ganks from... Yeah, she's just much more vulnerable to ganks, and they also have a Jarvan who is a great ganker. So I'm pretty surprised to see them send Cassio top lane. Oh my god, this gank path thing. I'll actually tell you what they did. They went red and then just all the way bottom. He went red to all the way just bottom. God damn, this was an incredible path thing. Red all the way bot, EQ flash, holy shit. Some of the pathing that people do in competitive play. Red skip everything to bot lane. Red skip everything to bot lane to EQ flash to make sure they can get the kill. Oh man, if Tuthin flashed this would have actually been so bad for SKT. I'm pretty sure he can live there with the flash. Jesus. Oh yeah, and Pawn ended up running cleanse. He didn't oh my god, Pawn outplayed the hell out of Faker there. So Pawn ended up running cleanse, not teleport. So here Pawn did flash E, and Faker still flashed the same direction, not able to dodge the chain, and ended up dying. Great gank from Cuz and great reaction from Pawn. Wow, super interesting. He ran Klepto on LeBlanc versus the Lissandra. Well, I guess he knows that he can't kill Lissandra, so he's running a mastery setup that's going to allow him to farm the Lissandra. Jesus Christ. I like that League is a strategy game in its core, and I like that people are doing strategy things. Like, this is a very strategical approach to the game. Oh, he's running Frostfang again, no wonder. That's why he's running Klepto. Frostfang Klepto. But League is a strategy game at its core. That's what most MOBAs are. It's more about strategy. It's more about strategy than team play. Oh man. Khan missing his E-flash. They almost still killed him because he got hit by the Cassiopeia got hit by the EQ after. Like, we celebrate League of Legends for all the cool and the small mechanical outplays that people are able to make, but in its core, it is a strategy game. So it's very fun and very righteously so to see all these cool strategies and new champion picks come up. Because a lot of times, like, high stake League of Legends and high elo League of Legends has been very, I would say, stale in terms of new strategies popping up, and there's been like stretches of meta where it's just been the same champions over and over again. So to see new kind of strategy is very fun. Wow, damn, Faker got fucked here. How did that even happen? Did he? So he landed WE. Faker still chained after his claw, and then Pawn following up with ultimate chain. Damn, Pawn's actually dunking the hell out of Faker. Faker wanted to get the W, and he wanted to push out, because the wave was kind of stuck here, and Faker wanted to take the reset because he was low on mana. Yeah. So what Faker's trying to do here, he's trying to push it out. He wants to push and reset. So he took like a dangerous approach, and they actually punished him greatly for doing that. Pawn styling on Faker. What year is this? Kanon tanks. That plays. Khan's just such a greedy player, and I feel like he doesn't know what to do whenever he isn't given the resources. SKT solo lanes both actually suffering a lot. Oh, pawn landing Q on a minion instead. Oopsie daisy. Pawn. It's so funny. I'm like, wait, he's purposely missing creeps. I'm like, oh yeah, he's purposely missing creeps. This Frostfang strategy. As much as I talked well about the Frostfang strategy, there is definitely a problem when this kind of strategy is popular and this kind of strategy is the norm. This kind of strategy should exist. This kind of strategy should actually, it shouldn't exist. It should just be celebrated for like the brief period that it's allowed to exist. Why I think fundamentally this strategy, the Frostmancy, whatever you guys want to call it, is really bad for the game, is it takes away from the core aspect of the game, which is people fighting and people trying to farm. Like that's part of League of Legends, right? People fighting and people wanting to earn gold. There's a lot of controversy regarding the bounty system and regarding like how it's been playing out. I definitely agree, like the bounty system's been pretty bad, and how it's been playing out is pretty bad, and this Frostmancy take even bigger advantage of that. And also just people last hitting and people farming the wave is a normal and a core part of League of Legends that I think should just continue to be normal and a core part of League of Legends, and this Frostmancy strategy destroys that. So let's celebrate it for the brief period that it's existing. It already got hotfixed and it's no longer viable again, but yeah. Oh, I see a lot of LeBlancs using double chain a lot more nowadays, and the double chain combo is a lot better than the QRW combo people do. It does just as much damage as the QR combo, and it also is incredible amounts of CC. So if you play LeBlanc, think about using ER combo a lot more. Oh damn, Pawn was actually so good regarding his W there. SKT still able to get the Herald. Actually, that's a pretty big fight. Let's see how it went down. So Kingzone on top a bit, and they decided to focus the Urgot instead. And Jax got ulted. And while they were focusing the Urgot, rest of the team was able to collapse. I don't think that's how it actually should have gone. So you damage the Urgot a little, you E, that's correct. And then you try to kill the Urgot as much as possible. Oh, him getting this E was actually really big. Is there any way they could have done it where he gets E? Pawn's ult is slightly on cooldown, and Rascal doesn't have that amount, a large amount of mana. And I think his ult might be slightly on cooldown too. Elsewise, he should have used his ult to make sure they can kill Khan. Good collapse from SKT, forced Kingzone off of Herald. They're able to pick up the Herald. This is worth more than just a kill that happened on CODs. This is worth like 2 to 3 kills, because they're able to take Herald away from Kingzone and take it onto themselves. So if we consider Herald 2 kills, right? Instead of Kingzone being up 2 kills, now SKT's up 2 kills, so that's actually like a 4 kill differential. So 4 kill differential that just flipped over right there, really big. And so one thing I do want to point out is SKT just using the Herald here to make sure it can slam into mid turret. So mid turret has about 5 plating, and after using it, it only has 2 plating. So that's 3 plating off, 3 plating, that's 160 gold times 3, about 480 gold. So yeah, the Herald giving 100 gold overall to people, or 100 gold overall to the killer, and 480 gold from plating. That's like 580 gold plus killing cuts. That 580 gold swing could have been either direction, towards Kingzone or towards the SKT. So you can see how big that Herald play is, and just being able to take the Herald plating away from people. Oh man, This was a huge turning point in the game. I'm not sure. I know it just looks like they got a kill and they got Herald and they were able to get plating, right? They didn't even get a turret. They just got Herald and a kill. But if you really break down the play in its core, that was about, yeah, that was about like, I would say 900,000 gold swing. God damn. God damn. Getting Herald before 15 minutes and using it before turret plating falls down is an incredibly strong early gameplay right now. Yeah, Khan and Huni are very similar. Both incredibly strong and aggressive players that suffer whenever they don't get the resources. Them SKT also picked up 2 Earthstrike throughout the whole game, so they're in a really nice place. They eventually do want to get into a 1-3-1 formation and start grouping up and team fighting, because they can't, like Lissandra and Urgot can't get things by themselves in a side lane unless like a Thresh comes, unless a Jarvan comes, but more likely than not they want to get priority and group up with the team. So on Kingzone's side, how can Kingzone play this out? They probably want to try to shadow the LeBlanc. Yeah, they probably want to try to shadow the LeBlanc or shadow the Cassiopeia and trying to catch the Urgot or the Lissandra going a little bit too aggressive. Yeah, you can see them kind of doing that. They're going to be staying behind the Cassio, staying behind the LeBlanc, and try to be behind them and kill someone trying to go for a Cassiopeia or LeBlanc. Yeah, they have to help out the side lane as much as possible. At least Kingzone knows what they need to be looking for next and they're playing for it as much as possible. Kingzone. SKT also doing a really good job of backing up their side laner still, and they're not grouping up them as much. Before a team fight happens and before it is like a team fight phase in the game where like let's say a dragon's coming up that you really want to fight for, or a Baron's coming up that you really want to fight for, you do want to spread out on the map and maximize your farm. But spreading out on the map and maximizing your farm, like you are in a dangerous spot because you are so spread out. SKT is improving. Oh, that one hero play actually turned this game so much. Okay, we'll break down this team fight. Let's watch it first. Alright, let's slow it down a little and break it down. Alright, so remember what we talked about? SKT wants to be flanking, and they have a great flank angle from Clid right here actually, and Khan right here. So they're coming in from this angle, they're coming in from this angle, and they're coming in from this angle. So they're coming in from 3 different angles. So it's really hard for people like Rascal to actually figure out what side he wants to run to and where he does want to fight. So it starts with Mata flash ulting, not the greatest way, and Teddy getting an ult across and actually being able to hit Kuz. This fight is already somewhat over for Kingzone because they're all running, right? And when you're all running like this, it's really hard to actually fight, and you're just trying to survive the fight more so than anything. Clid went for ult on Cassio, and then now he's going to try to get an EQ on her afterwards, while Faker's going this side onto Alistar. These are not the greatest target, so SKT is the one able to kill Cassio and finish up on the Urgot side. Let's see what they do. They go on Cassio, Clid left alone. This is bad, he has to back off. Urgot also left alone, and they actually did a really bad job of focusing targets because they went for Alistar initially and Khan was left by himself. They're able to kill Alistar afterwards though, and following up on rest of the things on Kai'Sa and Pawn. Jack's trying to go off, but not able to kill targets. For how great of a flank SKT had, this fight was only a 3 kill for SKT and 2 kills for Kingzone. They could have, I think if they called targets a little better, maybe they focused the Cassio more so and ignored the Alistar and Khan ways to go in, this fight could have been a lot better for them. Great flank, but not the best execution. I think people should have been more focused on the Cassio here instead, and Urgot shouldn't have gone in and waited for the rest of his team more so than just try to go in here. a lot of their initial engage and initial surprise was wasted on going through the All-Star. Right through the Counter-Strike. Are we Shinshin now? Huh. So Def went for a crit build, but he's still going Rage Blade. So this is like a mini crit build that's also on hit. I actually think that's pretty bad for Kai'Sa. I think for Kai'Sa, you just go the full crit build and you ignore the Rage Blade. Still SKT in the lead, and they have 4 dragons, 4k up. Controlling and starting Baron. Oh, King Jun actually doesn't know because they eat in there. Oh, and Def SW didn't reach, but the blue trinket being able to see. King Jun desperately want Baron Vision because they know SKT's eventual win condition is getting Baron, but they also don't want to give good team fights when they are going for this Baron control. So it's a delicate dance between Kingzone and SKT to see who can get the better engage on them and who can get the better vision. I'm not sure that engage from Faker was that good. Oh my god, that timing was actually really troll for Faker to go in on. Klid backing out. Mata gets a hook on Jax. Urgot's mid side. And Israel's all the way over here. Jarvan already used his EQ. I'm not sure this engage is great. What are you going to go on? The All-Star? Faker forced to burn his Danyeth and then doesn't even ult and dies. That was just a really, really weird thing for Faker to be doing. Well, Faker gameplay is actually kind of meh. Well, Faker was just one player I never expected to be bad ever. But throughout the series, like, his gameplay's been just meh. SKT still able to get the Baron though off the picks they made on the Kai'Sa and All-Star. Reminiscent of your Lissandra gameplay today. Not a bad comparison, actually. It's the first time where I feel like someone compared my gameplay to Faker and I feel like, hey, that's actually a fair comparison. Yeah, SKT 3-2ing with Baron buff. Baron's an incredibly strong tool to get inhibitors. I know people love fighting with Baron, but once you have Baron, playing it safe and getting the free inhibitors is just really good. SKT needs to play this like just blatantly wrong. Like Faker has to die before using ult or something for this team, like them to lose team fights at this point. Israel's really strong. Rest of the team is just, yeah, I mean, mainly it's Israel being strong, but rest of the team is fully functional too. Oh man, looks like we're gonna go to game 3. Oh, Khan, why are you getting caught out there? Faker's in base. Kingdom, or rest of the team pushing top. Damn, getting caught out in spots like that is really bad. Thank God he didn't die, but having to burn flash. Because they can play this so slow and the win is so guaranteed because they have 2 inhibitors. Now they just want the 3 waves to crash at the same time. So there's something special that happens when you have 3 inhibitors down. So I'm not sure if you guys can see, but you guys can see the 2 red dots, right? So instead of there just being 1 super minion per wave, there's actually 2 super minions per wave when you get all 3 inhibitors down. This looks like an A game. Somewhat. Yeah, they're gonna slowly end with these double minions coming in. Game over. Wow, we're going to game 3, boys.